Still clicking.
Well, hopefully the clicking stops after a little bit. But Terry, it's good to see you. Good to be part of it. Chad is our special guest star today. Chad, nice to have you a part of it. Welcome to Draft Dodgers.
Thanks for having me, guys. I want to give a shout out to the Marine Corps. Happy birthday, Marine Corps.
Semper Fi.
Thanks for all this, the service of our volunteers and Army, Navy, Air Force, but specifically the Marines today.
Sure, and as I forgot to start our normal way of doing things here is...
It wasn't that hot. Stop being a bunch of pussies.
Thinking about the guy who went through, lived through part of the Depression and part of World War II and a lot of turbulence. Hal is making sure that the guys on the West Coast know that they were being a bunch of pussies during the draft. Speaking of the Draft Dodgers, we have the trifecta of Draft Dodgers this year. Chad, you weren't able to make it this year because you were being a good family man. Do you have any guilt for not going to the draft in Santa Barbara?
Well, I certainly feel like I missed out on a nice get-together with the group and the beautiful vistas of Santa Barbara. But based on my draft results, if I came out like that every year, I would keep drafting the same way.
So are you saying, breaking news here, are you saying that if you were able to win the championship this year, you will say that that is your reason for winning, is not going to the draft, and you will kind of not go to the draft at all?
That's a no. I think that it all boils down to injuries, in my mind, right? So I felt like I've had good teams in the past, but injuries derail that quickly.
Yeah, injuries do derail that quickly. Looking, one of the things that the people have asked for, I get stopped on the streets every now and then, like, hey, are you the guy from Draft Dodgers? Are you the guy from Draft? Yes, I am. No autographs, please. But one of the things they like is the ability to go through the league. And as we start, we got a new person in first place. So Need an Intervention has leapfrogged Tex. Tex is on a 2-game losing streak. Or is it a 3-game losing streak?
Tex has lost 3 in a row.
3 in a row. Oh, that hurts my soul. It really does.
He's going to have to change his name.
Oh, he might do a Josh Allen's elbow. ULC Tex.
Do you guys see what's more impressive than that though is Bobby Dwayne has a 5-game win streak and he's projected like 280 this week.
Wow,
that's pretty impressive.
It's very impressive. Was this the Draft Dodger bounce?
He was on it pretty early. So I don't think so.
Well,
maybe has he lost since he's been on? I don't know. We'll have to go back and look.
Maybe he's 5-1 since then. I mean, there is a good Draft Dodger bounce, but maybe it's short-lived because Tex now is on a 3-game losing streak.
Well, did Jerron? Yeah, Jerron won last week. So there you go.
So we have Intervention in first, Tex in second, Boy Wonder, Josh third, Puss, the new billionaire Puss. Congratulations. We should have a shout out for the new billionaire Puss. Terry, you're now in 5th place. Hopefully you're doing all right. Chad, you're in 6th. George, 7th. Chaos, 8th. Dog out of the playoff contention, now in 9th. Truth in 10th. Me in 11th. And Knights in 12th. Terry, how do you see that?
We knew that if Al lost, he was going to drop significantly because of his points, and I think the strongest teams currently are in the top. You're clawing your way. Your team is improving, that's for sure. But the way that I look at it, Truth is still kind of snake bit a little bit. I deserve to have lost the last couple games. Like I said, starting 2 Detroit Lions isn't really the clear path to victory that everybody would imagine. So until Chase gets back for me, I'm gonna have to claw a little bit, rely on my defense some.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I
bittersweet. It was bittersweet when Chase goes down. I'm like, all right, I got these guys, and then I see that Boyd and Higgins are on a bye this week, so a dumpster fire against Tex. But
Tex has
Neither here
40
nor there.
points currently projected from Josh Allen. 40. So he's got Jimmy G on the bench, and I don't know how you feel about that, Ron, but going against Jimmy G would be a lot better than Josh Allen.
I was literally thinking that I was going to dump a couple of my C or D players because I only have C and D players on my bench. I start B and C plus players in my team, and then the C and D players are on my bench. I was going to just get rid of them all and just take all quarterbacks on the waiver just to screw Tex a little bit. But I didn't do it. But I was thinking about that. I think it
would
bodes
go-
well for me. What's that, Chad?
I was going to say that would hex you probably. He'd probably pick up somebody at the end of the wire. It was Colt McCoy with the Cardinals playing in the place of Kyler Murray and his bad hammy.
Yes.
What do you think?
It would be something like that.
What do you think Eric would be willing to pay for some of his quarterbacks that he's since traded? How many quarterbacks has he traded? Do you think he would pay the same price that they paid him?
No, not at all. Or do you think that they would have mercy on his soul? No,
All right.
not at all. I think they're in for a beatdown here shortly. So,
Hey, Ron, I've got one more for you. I was looking at the matchup between you and Eric, and it's just still amazing that Josh Allen is projected 40 every week, but I guess the guy deserves it. You haven't done anything. You haven't stepped off of this Kirk Cousins train all year. You just riding the whole season through him? How come you haven't picked up any quarterbacks besides Watson?
I think if I'm looking at his numbers right now, all right. So I'm looking at that, and it's consistently above 30. I mean, he has some stinkers in there, but he's about between 30 and 40 points a week. So he's against Arizona, he was 39, and against Washington, he was 29. So I wrongly believed I could get away with a middle tier quarterback, and I don't know that there's anybody worth it. Since will Deshaun Watson maybe? I don't know. I don't know. It's just a flyer. By the time I was considering Terry a quarterback change, rob you of a season, and the man with bad hair. He looks like he's got a dad bod too, somebody told me. So he's got a dad bod. Hunter Renfro's got a dad bod, and he's got receding hairline, and he's the fifth option, and I'm starting him this blanking week. Really pisses me off. But I've got bigger problems in quarterback. How about that? Kirk Cousins is neither the answer or the problem. So I don't know. So to our guests, Chad, you're rocking the University of Tennessee shirt this week. Georgia puts them in a beatdown. Who do you see on the University of Tennessee that is possible draftable coming into next 2-3 seasons?
So this year, so obviously it rotates really quick, and they're starting to pick up some 5 stars and 4 stars that probably don't stay for 4 years. The left tackle, I guess he's playing right tackle now, offensive, Darnell Wright. He'll play in the NFL for sure. Hooker will get a cup of coffee. He's probably like, a Dobbs type quarterback, accurate, athletic, big. Cedric Tillman, wide receiver. They've got him projected late first round. I would probably guess more like second round, but a lot like Josh Palmer, big, physical, goes to get the ball, but won't do the measurables, off the chart. And defensively, they'll get a couple guys, but some of the young guys look like they're really going to be difference makers.
How about Hyatt?
Hyatt has incredible speed, but he's really small. But if he finds a role with the right team, I don't know. He doesn't return punts, so you talk about special teams. He's a little tricky. Big.
Yeah, I see the speed, and then, you have 300 yards against Alabama. It's pretty big. It's pretty big. So I think there's something there for potentially him, just a speedy guy, but neither here nor there.
Speed kills.
So
Deshaun
I'm
Watson or Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun Jackson, yeah. I don't know if you guys know this, but I had Deshaun Jackson when he pushed that ball out of bounds or at the 1 yard line against Dallas. And it was a Monday Night Football game, and I lost by 4 points that year. If anybody wants to go back in the history and see why I hate Deshaun Jackson, that's the reason why. I know that there are people that had Tiki Barber when he fell down, or I think Ray Rice also did it where he fell down, and someone's Saquon Barkley did it this year where he falls down at the 1. I was going to win a Monday night sweater, and I lost by the skin of my teeth, and that POS threw the ball behind him at the 1 yard line. So Deshaun Jackson, dead to me, like dead. We'll never pick him up.
But well, it's not necessarily fantasy relevant, but remember this year, DJ Moore scored a big touchdown, yanks his helmet off. They take the 15 on the extra point, they hook it.
It's fantasy relevant if you're Puss. I know I played him in another league, but Puss started him that week. Which 100, I mean, that was the play that took him over up to 150 yards, and with the touchdown, with a 40-yard touchdown.
So they gave him the touchdown, the extra point miss, though, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they lost the game. Exactly. It wasn't fantasy. Like for DJ Moore owners, they don't care at that point. Take your helmet off, celebrate.
Right.
Sure.
And then the kicker misses 2 field goals too. Kicker could have saved him. He didn't.
So I did pick up a little nuggets I wrote down. One that you guys mentioned on intervention. He's in first, right?
Yeah.
How many deep players do you think he has in the top 25?
Diggs, Mahomes.
No, defense players, right?
Defense.
Oh, his defense has turned around strong. I've noticed some of his guys are going to be misleading statistically because they're coming on now. Like he's got the linebacker for the Bears. He picked him up, but he's got Micah Parsons, I believe. I'm not looking. He's got Micah Parsons. He's got Eddie Jackson. He's got Sanborn. Is that how you say the new Bears linebacker? Sanborn, and he's got Hicks, right? He's up there. I thought
somebody Puss had Hicks.
I didn't list his players, but I counted how many are in the top 25 as of now.
I guess 3 or 4. 4, I'm going to go with.
No, he does have Hicks.
He's got 5.
Wow.
Yes. That's getting it done.
Well,
that doesn't mean he started every one of those, every week, but he's sitting with 5, 20%. I mean, that's hard to do in this league.
Well, and the other thing about that is I would imagine Zaven Collins, Jack Sanborn, and Blake Martinez aren't those 5. So those guys are coming on strong right now. So he's got 5 in the top 25, but then he's also got 3 guys that are coming into their own right now. Yeah, he's projected 281.
Yeah, I drafted Zaven Collins.
Yeah.
Do you think that Puss would give away some of his billions to win this week for a couple extra points?
To buy the league title?
Well, he's already conceded to kicking Anti-Ann in the shins. I think his money will buy him a league title. Yes, I do. That's one of the. So when I'm going through this week's matchups, me and Text, Terry and Truth, Josh and George, Intervention and Puss, Dog and Shiz, chaos and nights, the one that kind of jumped out at me, Terry, was Truth is starting Dak Prescott against you this week. So he gets him and he starts him. I'll be at that game. Is there anything? Do you need me to like cut the back of his hamstring or something for Dak Prescott? Do you need any kind of hex that I could throw on him?
I like Dak. Dak's my guy. I know Eric hates him, but I like Dak. So no, I just
Do you like him as a person or you like him as a fantasy quarterback?
like him I don't know him as a person, but I have had him on my championship team, so he's fine by me.
Oh, so he
Buying a
helped
jersey?
win you a ring. So that's it.
Well, I'm okay with at this point in time lining Justin Fields up across from Dak. Let's just say that. Give me 75%, 60% of what he did last week. I'll be happy with it.
No, his running ability is definitely on par there. One of the things that I needed to, and Terry and I don't mean to kind of put you on the spot here, Chad, but Terry and I, we live next to each other. We're close to each other, relatively speaking. We talk on the side. We have one question that if we don't ask, this show will not be complete. So I'm gonna say it, and I don't mean to throw you off guard here. The name Shiz. Can we have clarification around that, please? Because there's some people in Draft Dodger Nation that have said it's not what you think it is. It's not the shit, which everyone thinks. Oh, that's it. Some people have a nefarious term with that. What does Shiz actually mean?
So it actually is slang for the shit, right? So however you want to, that restaurant was the shits. And I started with that. And I don't know where it came from. It was a Snoop Dogg thing, I think. And I used it, I don't know, right away. So I've been some form of the shiz almost the entire time.
I would imagine that the only
So
form
there-
of the shiz that you haven't been is the one that Eric suggests.
Eric's mind can be in the gutter. He needs to worry about drafting wide receivers instead of quarterbacks. But I will say this. I will say this about his strategy, right? So I thought about this a little bit. When you have quarterbacks and you make the trade for a flex or whatever, he gets a few weeks to see him in action and gets to see who, plays a good role versus preseason. We can kind of guesstimate, but every time, we all know we can look at the rankings now, and there's some guys there you're like shocked are in the top 20, and some guys that are out of the top 25 you're shocked about their production or lack thereof. Hunter Renfrow.
Coming at me, bro. With that being said, how many tight ends, don't look at your screens, how many tight ends in our league are not on teams but are in the top 10 in scoring right now? So they're free agents, top 10 in scoring, and they're not on anyone's team.
I'll say 3.
Top 10 in tight end scoring or all offensives?
No, tight end scoring. So
Oh,
if
there's
you
two.
rank the top 10, there's two.
There's two.
That's right. There's two. And I was wrong, and I've been on this kick for a long time. I was wrong all season in my drafting. Sans Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce has been by far the best tight end in scoring, but the biggest advantage in any category. I looked at it last night. More than quarterback, running back, wide receiver, any defensive player. The difference between 1 and 2 in the tight end category is the greatest, and in between 2 and 3, I think. I'm not going to look at it right this second, but I believe 100 points difference between 1 and 3 in tight ends. Between Kelce's at 258, and I think the third is at 158 of scoring. So I was right there, but I've been wrong everywhere else. Tunyon is one of those. Conklin and Tunyon are the two tight ends that are in the top 10, but not on a team.
I
And
dropped
it just
Tanya.
shows you what kind of it's a dumpster fire. Tight end is a dumpster fire every year, and it has been the bane of my existence of trying to fill that role. So now that you have Kelsey. By the way, when is the trade deadline?
Is it the 19th? I'm guessing.
I'm guessing the 17th. I know I saw the date, but I don't remember it exactly.
Before next week's
If
game.
I could get a win against Tex, I would be willing to part with Kelsey for something.
Any number one wide receiver at this point?
Well, a 1 and a 3 maybe. A 1 and a 3. Like it would be great to get, or a
How about two number twos?
3. I see what you did there, Dave. I see what you did there. All right, I know Terry, you have some, but I'm gonna ask the first phone-in question of the night of the day, and we'll go with this because it leads into something that I think is important topic here. So let's hear the first phone-in question. Hopefully you could hear it. If not, I will translate.
Hello, Draft Dodgers. This is Tori from Fort Myers. First time caller, long time listener. I have a question. My question is, why did you move from 1 point for every 10 yards for a running back to 1 point for every 7.5 yards? How did this rule take place? I need to know.
So, Chad, did you hear that, and do you
Yeah.
have it?
Yeah, good to hear your voice, Tori. Hope you're doing great. So this is probably several steps in the evolution of the league.
Chad, we're losing you, so can you go back to the start there?
Yes, so it's several steps in the evolution. This is down further in the evolution, but once we felt like we had the scoring close to buttoned up, PPR, some other things. This is me and Brian talking out because we work together. But we had players like Jerome Bettis was a good example. He would carry the day, rush for 95 yards, pretty much own the game. They'd win, low scoring, different football than it is today. But it wasn't pointing out the same as a little scat back, catching a few passes here or there for 50 yards. And we're like, that doesn't make sense at all. So when we switched that, it really kind of balanced out the little Devin Singletaries of the world, catching 4 balls and running for a few yards here and there. So it certainly made the running back more appealing too. Didn't know that this. I will say this: I did not see it coming. How much it would affect the quarterback scoring in our league.
Oh, that is true. The point per completion, the idea that you can have 95 yards, control the game, and get 9 points versus catching 4 balls out of the backfield and getting 90 points is not the same, because you get one series at the end of the half where you throw a couple checkdowns, and one series at the end of the game where you throw a couple checkdowns, and it changes. And that's how I really won one of the years with Theo Riddick, because it didn't matter. He didn't rush at all. He just had receptions. I wonder if there's a point per reception for running backs that is different. I don't know. Terry, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think what Chad was referring to was just the not being able to foresee quarterbacks rushing as much as they are now. So it's like if you get a quarterback that can rush, then they get all those extra yardage from rushing, and it's like you got 2 positions in one essentially. You got a good quarterback and you got a great running back. I run a league that I've talked about on here before. It's structured kind of the same, but I was trying to correct that, and the one thing I did is I looked up completion percentage for quarterbacks. So I took like I believe it was like 66% was like the quarterback 15. The year that I was looking at this, 66% completion was like quarterback 15. So I'm like, well, how do I make it so that in the pocket quarterbacks can score higher for being good at throwing the football? So I tried to make not only points per completions, but also points for incompletions as well. So I kind of fucked it up the first year. It was pretty bad. It was a roller coaster of a year because I did like plus the a completion was worth twice as much, or incompletion was worth twice as much as a completion, whatever. I did the math wrong. But this year I kind of dialed it in, and I have a completion and an incompletion plus and minus 0.33. So how it works is everything over or under 50% is the only time when you get points per completion, but it also makes it so that if you're under 50% passer, you can actually get a little bit of a negative scoring for your quarterback not being an efficient passer. So there are ways to combat that or to reward quarterbacks for actually playing the quarterback position from a passing standpoint. But I think
does Justin Fields throw the ball at all, or does he just run?
I threw 3 touchdowns last week, so I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't been watching. All I know is I see highlights of him running, and I see the fact that he throws for 65 yards a game. So I just didn't know if he threw the ball.
Well, you'll get to see it a lot closer in a few weeks here, unless you're still boycotting the Packers.
Who are they? I've never heard of them.
I have a call-in question myself that I'd like to queue up for you guys, if you don't mind.
Sure. I see this coming a mile away. Go ahead. Fire away.
What's up, Draft Dodgers? Jordan from Utah here. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Just wondering what your guys' take is on the Packers quarterback situation heading into next year. Wondering if the guy on the team you think should have a spot. Love the podcast. Keep up the great work. Thanks for taking the call.
Did you guys hear that at all?
I did. I really appreciate the background noise too, Terry, on that thing.
I think he was driving.
My unfortunate reality is that I would give. There's so much grace that is going to be given to Aaron Rodgers that it is. I know this as the leading, I believe, all-time passer rating in NFL history. Hall of Famer can have a stinker of a year. He could have a stinker of 6 games. I'm giving him all the grace in the world, and the minute you get rid of a Hall of Fame quarterback, you start looking for a quarterback. He is not the problem. He's not the answer this year, but he's had a couple stinker games, and he's allowed that. As many games as I've seen him win, I'm all in on keeping Rodgers around for as long as it takes. Would I love to see if Jordan Love is the answer? Sure. But Chad, what's your thoughts?
I concur with the grace. When you have that many good seasons, certainly you're allowed. But he hasn't played. He actually the last couple of weeks he has played horrible. But I think that there's miscommunication with the receivers. A lot going on there, and they're making mistakes all over the place. But when I look at it from a macro position, though, and this is even before the season started, at least they're deep at quarterback. There's teams, and go look at Jim Irsay and the Colts and what they're saying. They're going all in for some quarterback. That's what they got to fix. Losing teams have to fix that.
Well, I hope the Packers don't play themselves into another franchise quarterback in the draft. But if Aaron Rodgers is guaranteed, 58, 59 million next year, how do you make that work?
He's $50 million. He'll restructure that, in my opinion. But this is the issue. If your offense isn't working, why are you throwing to David Bakhtiari and throwing some lollipop in the end zone? That really pisses me off. You can't get anything, and that's the best you can do. Throw the ball, obviously, but don't throw it to a left tackle with a bad knee. That play design pissed me off. Threw the phone, kicked. You know what I actually did, Terry, this weekend, which is I'll tell you on Draft Dodgers. and there's probably some rule against this. I went out and got a rescue dog this weekend, and I filled a rubber hose full of lead pellets, and I beat it just to a pulp because that's how pissed off I was. Get a when you don't want to do anything too bad, so just go get a rescue dog, fill a rubber hose full of lead pellets, and just beat the crap out of that dog just to take out some frustration.
Lawyer.
Oh, I was so mad.
It reminded me. I was just wondering if Matt Nagy made his way over to Green Bay because it reminded me of the Santa's sleigh plays from back in the day.
So
it's
bad.
weird. Yeah, the offense doesn't look anything like it did the last couple seasons, but.
Hey, I don't know if you guys have been in this situation where you're half in on your fantasy team, you're half in on your regular team. I had some things going on. I was helping somebody move, so I'm kind of looking. Yeah, I'm not getting beat too bad. Yeah, the Packers are close, but they're not. And I get sucked into this. Oh my goodness! They have the ball at the 50-yard line with 2 minutes left to go, and they're down by 6. All we have to do is punch it in. So they sucked me in to kick me in the balls one more time. That's how I feel about it.
Well, they got Dallas this week, and you got McCarthy coming back. So I don't know what your guys' thoughts are, but Rodgers went on his podcast, his weekly podcast, and he said that he hopes the Packers fans give McCarthy a great big welcome that he deserves. He plans on giving him a big old bear hug, and he said that McCarthy is a sure thing walk-in Hall of Famer Packers coach.
So the Packer Hall of Fame, absolutely.
Packer Hall of Fame.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. There are things that Buffalo fans don't know, Vikings fans don't know. It's called a championship, and he brought one to us in 2010, and I'll take it all day long.
Is that enough with the Hall of Fame quarterback? One?
Well, Brady won. 6, 7?
He did very, very good. So that's it, Terry. That's all you have is for. So Brian Urlacher is not a Hall of Fame Bear Hall of Fame guy because he never won a Super Bowl. No,
I didn't say that.
Well,
I just asked what your thoughts are for McCarthy coming back.
Yeah, but you said surefire Hall of Famer because he only got one championship. There are things that a team is a team. But I think in my world, if I was voting, I'd put him in.
I think that Aaron Rodgers probably should have been in a lot more contention for Super Bowls in his career with how good of a quarterback.
We went to 7 consecutive NFC championship games or something stupid like that. We effing pissed down our leg. That's the problem. Brandon Bostic, AJ Sparrow. I take them both, bastards.
How big of a loss is Rashawn Gary?
Huge.
It's big.
Huge. I think he's a borderline, all Pro Bowl. Really is. But at that rush position, it's tough to find those guys. There we go.
Nice. There we go. So, Chad, I got another question for you. If you were to win this year, would you say that probably one of the biggest acquisitions you made was after me and you talked before week 1, and you pick up the linebacker from Atlanta, who now is a top 5 linebacker? Can I share part of your trophy with Sean Evans when I told you, hey, this guy, you can pick this guy up, and you're like, oh yeah, sure. So you drop the whore and you pick him up, and he has been lights out. And I loathe that conversation. I have.
So I give you thanks, but I'm not sharing any type of trophy. Sure, but I do thank you for the insight there. The weird thing for that is I really do not like playing 2 defensive players on the same squad. And I've been rolling with this all year. I've got 2 Falcons, and they're consistent. They're very consistent.
Who's your other one?
It's the safety, and I'm blanking on his name.
Terrell?
No,
Grant.
Yes. So I looked at this. This is a good since we're on defense. So Roquan Smith's the number one player in defense right now at 169. So I went down to see, what the delta was at 25 and what the delta was at 50. So the top 50 defensive players. So at 25 is Devondre. And the difference is that, like, the 169, Devondre has 121. The next 25, go to the bottom of that, is Devontae David, 50. He has 100 touchdowns. So you can
So 110 to 120. Is that what you're saying? The difference between 25 and 50?
yes.
Wow. That's not much at all.
No, but I did notice Intervention had 5 in the top 25. So that was some of the homework I did. Was like, wow, that's pretty good defense.
Puss has a lot up there at the top too.
He does. Puss is always at the top.
Hey Chad, I did a kind of a deep dive into your and Puss's trade. I was hoping to hear your take on it. I don't know if you want to give me your take, and then I'll kind of tell you what I was thinking.
Sure. So I was looking for defensive help, especially DB. I had one guy in and we were trying to do Rondell Moore we wanted to do it receiver straight. But then he offered a package, and it really does work for me. Okay, so Gerald Everett, as much as I like him, and I think he's actually a really good play because Donald Perriman is out for the season, I believe. And they're great passing offense. But I've got Kittle, so I can't do both. I've got Josh Palmer. I don't want to put 2 targets necessarily. Okay, and the defensive help came, but I also Rondell Moore. I've already got Hopkins, and then the running back Wilson Jr. He's got most, so he hooks up that backfield. They really work both ways. So I thought it was one of the better trades from a non-top tier. We got it someone in the middle, but he got what he needed. We got to start a DB with some help. We both. It took no time to do it either. I looked at it and thought, yes.
Do you guys ever remember having a 4-for-4 trade in the league before?
No. Usually someone's and he did drop somebody.
But still, that was a big. I mean, it was bottom of the bench kind of guys, and I'm sure that it worked for both of you. Everybody in this league's scrapping, right, constantly. There's nobody that's just making trades that don't make sense for them generally. But I was looking at it, and I'm like, okay, so it's Evan Ingram, Brandon Cooks, Julian Love, and Matt Judon is who Puss gave to Chad. And Chad gives Everett, Rondell Moore, Michael Jackson, and Jeff Wilson Jr. Puss immediately drops the thriller for Grant Delpit, who I believe is an upgrade at this point to Julian Love. Xavier McKinney was in an ATV accident in Cabo on his bye week, so he's out a minimum of 4 weeks because he's on the exempt list right now. And Julian Love, I believe, is the more experienced and better safety, and he's going to move back to free safety. And Dane Belton is, in my guess, the one that's going to move over to the strong safety role. So then I was looking at Evan Ingram, who he's dealing with a back issue. And he has a bye week still coming up on week 11. So a guy with a bad back and a bye week coming up. Their points are pretty close. Everett's got 112, Ingram 109. 33 catches versus 32 catches. It's very close, but I give the strength of schedule probably a little weighed towards Everett. But I would also lean a healthy tight end that has already got his bye week in the past. And then you get Brandon Cooks, who has a wrist injury, didn't practice on Wednesday, did not practice yesterday, and he also didn't play last week. He's not happy because he was traded, or they were talking about trading him. I don't know if he's wanted to be traded or he was mad because he was in the trade talks. That's not really clear, but I get that eventually you're going to get Marquise Brown back, and you already have Hopkins, but you got a defensive back who's probably going to move to free safety. You got a wide receiver who has not happy with the team. He's not playing, and you got a tight end with a bad back, and then you got a defensive end for New England. I thought all four, all the way down the line, besides maybe Michael Jackson, I thought Puss got the better of you there a little bit, and you even had to use your number one waiver spot for Jeff Wilson Jr. to make it happen. So
Well, that's a grim bit of context. Kid spot.
oh, we lost you there.
Hey, Chad, we're losing you. Can you move into a better spot of your Wi-Fi possibly? Terry, good deep dive. I'm really wondering if Brandon Cooks even plays anymore this year. Is he even going to be out there doing anything?
I think he will, because if you saw the last game, they really needed him. I mean, that game versus Philly, they were throwing to. They didn't have anybody to throw to. So I think you got to make good with Cooks and get him back out there for the remainder of the year, and maybe he gets highly targeted. More in Cooks, it's a wash to me, really, because Rondale Moore. The thing is, Rondale Moore has 18 targets in the last 2 weeks, so he's still super valuable. Until Marquise Brown comes back, he's going to continue to get peppered with targets like that. So I just think Puss won all the way down the line. Even the Matt Judon thing, it's like he's on a bye week this week, and then he's versus the Jets, and he played the Jets 2 weeks ago. He had 3 points. So I don't know. Like I said, everybody in this league is scrappy, but Puss is sneaky, man. That getting rid of Julian Love after the ATV accident, which is going to push Julian Love to free safety. That was the one that I'm like, ooh, that was kind of sneaky.
So, Chad, what was your thought on Terry dissecting your and then giving you the L for this trade?
Oh, it's early on the trade, but in the context, Brandon Cooks and Evan Ingram probably don't make the lineup. I mean, I've got a pretty deep bench when it comes to flex players right now. So I could afford Rondale Moore. Jeff Wilson probably wouldn't make it in the running backs, assuming that people stay upright, right? So Walker and Stevenson are my bell cows. I didn't see that coming. But Kittle will play over Ingram. Ingram's probably, he's a movable piece because he had to drop him anyway, and I knew I was doing that. But Love's a playmaker. You know what? I've been watching McKinney all year long, and did some research with a Giants fan before the season, and McKinney wears the dot. That's the one thing that they're going to lose, is he wears the green dot, which is interesting. He just didn't make a ton of plays unless it was tip balls, right? He wasn't in the box. Love plays up into the line, and I don't know that you replace that. Maybe they do, to your point. Maybe he moves back, but his skill set is getting up and making plays closer to the linebacker second level than McKinney ever did. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And like you said, too, there's bottom of the bench type of guys. It worked out for what you guys both felt you needed currently. So I'd never seen a 4-for-4 trade like that before, and I decided to just take a look line by line and kind of see who I thought won the trade or what worked for who. So
one thing I noticed. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. The Camus Grier.
a hyphen.
You know what? I drafted him on the turn with Kenneth Walker, 15-16.
Did you?
Isn't that funny on the turn there?
Yeah, well, Kenneth Walker, everybody wishes they could get a piece of that board at this point. That dude's going to be the offensive rookie of the year, maybe, if he keeps it up.
Yeah, can we do one keeper? Can we do a one keeper on offense and keep it to the round that you drafted in?
I don't know if we can enact that right now.
I know, but I thought about that would be great.
Yeah. Hey.
Go ahead, Terry. I had one thing. That's it.
Go.
I just wondered, with talking fantasy with your friends, obviously Chad's my brother. I love him like a brother, but I also as a friend talking with him on fantasy stuff, and then saying, "Oh, you should probably get this guy." And next thing you know, he's a top 5 linebacker. Do you ever during the season are you like trepid with your talks on fantasy? So Terry, you and I are talking. You're like, I'm not going to say this to Ron, or I'm not going to say this to Dog, or I'm not going to say this to Eric because they might take that. I wouldn't be as honest with them during the fantasy season. Like before it, you can say stuff up to like August 1st, and then during the season, you're not as honest or outright or forthcoming. Do you guys find that to be the case?
Yeah, so for me, it's context. So if we're talking pre-draft, it depends on where you're slotted. If we're talking season, I'm trying to understand whether it's you guys or the truth or whatever. Like, is this guy seriously going to help somebody, or am I good at wide receiver? And we're talking about who's on the wire. I'm glad to talk about that if I have no chance of picking somebody up. But I do find myself definitely looking out to try to improve my team.
I get a lot of shit at work because there's a work league as well, and those guys just think I'm always messing with them. They think I'm just feeding them lines that I really don't believe, just to get them to pull the string on somebody or try to convince them somebody else is worth them pulling. And the thing is, most of the time I'm not. Most of the time I'm giving real takes, and they just think I'm messing with them. But I will withhold information. If I'm really high on somebody, I'm not going to talk them up, but I will give a real take on people that I don't like. They just think I'm full of it. So
hey Terry, you told me clear as a bell that you didn't like A.J. Brown.
I don't, and I didn't. And then you know what I realized? It's just Tennessee team that sucks at having a good valuable wide receiver.
Here we go with the anti-Tennessee bit again, Terry.
The other thing,
you know what though? I mean, I don't know how you can tell me that guy's not a beast.
Oh, he's really good. I don't know what it is. So for me, there's a category, and I just put Michael Pittman in him last year, but it was Terry McLaurin, A.J. Brown, and DK Metcalf. I just don't like those guys. I don't want them on my team. So A.J. Brown might have pulled himself out of that this year.
All right, so I've got a couple of questions, little stumpers, if you guys want to do it.
Yeah.
So more points this season: Garrett Wilson or Juju Smith?
Who was the first one? Garrett Wilson or Juju?
I'll go with Juju myself as well.
Juju is 185, and Garrett Wilson's 170, but they're close. What about your guy, Ron Higgins and Boyd? Who's got more points?
I know that Boyd had 2 monster games, so I'll go with Boyd.
Boyd. All right, here's one that's pretty close. CeeDee Lamb or Amon St. Brown?
St. Brown.
I'll go Lamb.
Lamb by 2 points. St. Brown is, I think I've got him as ranked 24th in the league.
St. Brown's missed a couple games as well.
Yeah.
He's definitely your guy.
Love him.
And
I don't love the other St. Brown. The wrong St. Brown, the one that fucking Justin Fields threw a ball right into his hands and he dropped it to lose the game. I don't like that St. Brown, just to be honest. Like the other St. Brown, the Sun God, he's my guy. The other St. Brown, you guys can have him back on the Packers. Rodgers needs a guy.
So one guy is an actual saint, and the other guy is the saint of pooping, St. Brown. And
right, take him back.
Flush it down.
Put him back on the mustard team, please.
Mustard team. I'm so jealous. Maybe what Rodgers should do is get out of the ownership business and get back to just playing quarterback. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, I don't know. What else you got, Chad? You got more of those?
Yeah, so I do. So I'm not going to ask you the question just because it's important, but I'll put this in order. These are quarterbacks and their point scoring number 21, 22, 23, and 24. I'll go in reverse order. Number 24, Russell Wilson. 23, Matt Stafford. 22, Jimmy G. And 21, Jacoby Brissett. So Brissett has outscored all of those guys.
Yeah, and a few of those guys would have been in the top 10 last year, right? Stafford for sure would have been like top 5, I would have think.
I'll give you another name. Number 23 in points overall, but number 12 at quarterback. Any guesses?
I do. Ron, you want to go first?
Jalen Hurts.
No, he's got to be higher than that. 12 in quarterback, over, which is...
I'll give you a hint. He was drafted by Tex.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Yeah. I mean, but that's, you don't think about him being a producing QB1, but he's there.
Because you don't want 20 points when you're going against somebody that has a blow-up week that Mahomes throws for 450, and you got Trevor Lawrence. That's not going to win you any games in this league.
Dak isn't in the top 25, but he has a chance of doing that every week.
Yes, and that's why I've drafted him the last couple of years. He just, especially in garbage time. I mean, it helped when he had Cooper over there, but hey, what's up with the snot first down nose wipe that CeeDee Lamb does? That's hilarious to me, but I don't know where that came from.
I see a lot of people doing that. I do not know what that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Hey, Chad.
Linebackers doing it, like, is it knocking the snot out of somebody? I don't know.
Hey, Chad, I learned on the podcast last week that your Junebug handle, where Junebug Bowl came from, and you did a radio show. I'd like to hear a little bit about that. I didn't know that about you.
So 1 year I did a radio show with a former player, friend of mine, and it was at a cigar shop. So we'd roll into the cigar shop, light a stogie, and we'd spend an hour on the phone talking about the games. The challenge was it was going head to head with the Jeff Fisher show, like exact same time slot.
So Jeff Fisher, one of the worst coaches in NFL history, could draw more of an audience than you. Is that what you're saying, Chad?
It was the Titans.
The Terry's favorite team. I'm going to send Terry a Titans shirt after this season.
Hey, anytime Chad wants to go to a Titans game with me or Truth or whoever, I'm more than willing to go. Chad showed me one of the best times I've ever had around football, period, at the Bears-Titans game. So it's nothing to do with against Nashville. That team bores me. That's all.
Well, at that time, Terry, when I was on the radio, it was Vince Young and CJ2K. So it was fun times.
Yeah, that would be. So what are your thoughts about the name change versus Junebug Bowl?
Don't care.
Don't care?
Yeah, no, but I mean, I'm more concerned, about and I've really, by the way, guys, I've enjoyed the podcast. I think we all have. Great job on it. But I've learned a lot from listening to the other guys, the evolution of the league. I care more about the players that are in the league, our format. I like it keeps evolving. We're pretty deep on defense now, so there's nothing on the wire.
I like it. That's how you want it.
When we, kind of going back when we first started, it was kicker strong. And it meant like a 13-point week from the kicker could put you over 100 points. And it was like 95 to 89. We hated that. So I like the scoring format that we have.
Well, speaking of that, and speaking of kickers who shouldn't matter in fantasy, I still want to know, how do we come up with this? I looked at it again last night, and it's a 40-yard field goal plus 4 points. You miss a 40-yard field goal, wash, nothing. You should at least have a -2 for that.
I don't know. I like the minuses. I do like the minuses. I think maybe a kicker tackle plus 10 and a game-winning field goal, making and missing, and added to that as well. I think if you can get a kicker tackle, which is it's a rare, right? It's like the 0 on the roulette wheel, but a kicker tackle would be a good ad, and a game-winning field goal would be a good ad. But 40-yard field goal is legit. I just don't like those chippies are bad, but the 40-yard field goal is legit. Chad, how would you change the kicker scoring for the better?
So that is a great idea. I just caught, and I'm sorry about the audio, but caught the tail end of that. I would love to see like a kicker tackle worth 5 points.
Well,
because
Ron,
it doesn't happen.
yeah, Ron, you got some connections with. You got some stalker qualities / connections. The mustache is kind of helping with the stalker part of it, but to go after these people's LinkedIn accounts and Yahoo and really try to nail down, I don't think that's currently an option. So maybe if you can creep on them a little bit and try to find out how to manipulate the scoring so we can make that
It
happen.
would just be they have it would be. But so as a sales guy, I'm here in Lima, Ohio because LinkedIn creep direct message got a meeting and had one this morning, 6:30 Central Time, 7:30 Eastern Time. Already had a meeting. So LinkedIn works for us sales peeps. It really is.
I'm not hating, just talking a little shit. But Chad,
No.
you caught out. You caught out with the. What are your thoughts on a 40-yard field goal, missed, wash, nothing, make +4? Shouldn't it be -2 at least?
No. I mean, if 40-yard field goal is legit, and once we hit weather, like those things are no gimmies. I think that we started taking away points on the kicker when they were like extra points, when they were closer even. At least now they're somewhat challenged. But 30 yards in, you should make it. 40 yards and plus, that's where it gets to be. 41 to 49 is a big difference.
Well, kicker tackle is probably hard to get a way to make points for that, but I think game winners and game losing kicks should be more valuable. These guys miss a 40-yard kick or make a 40-yard kick to win a game or lose a game. It's pretty significant.
They make the kicker more interesting. I don't know if you can do that, but a game-winning kick and a little bonus there.
That's the best idea since drafting a coach that I've heard.
Where are we gonna? Where do you?
I do like the draft you.
So, Ron, you think North Carolina next year?
I would love to lock it down. The only thing that I like about North Carolina is it's probably going to be either free or cheap. It can house everybody. It's on a lake where we can bonfires, fishing, swimming, wherever. There's a little downtown right there, but then also if you wanted to go to Asheville and be a part of the liberal left coast Asheville nestled in the hills of North Carolina, you could do that.
How far away is Asheville? I'd like to be a part of that. I've never been there.
Oh, Asheville is very close. Super, super, super close.
Uber? Like Uber? Or you were in the like?
I will let Dog, who likes to do all of the, hey, this is where you guys were wrong, and do all that commentary, do that, because I have a job to do. I know he'll do that. I like the idea that he's drawing pictures on Hunter Renfro's face as he's waiting for his court date. That makes me giggle and giggle and giggle. Oh, where do you find the time? Oh, I'm waiting for a court date. As the purpose is going, do you think I'm going to jail? And he's like, I'm busy here. Drawing hair on Hunter Renfro, posting it in Slack.
I asked him about that. I go, Al, what about your client? Shouldn't you be focusing on winning their case? He's like, well, he blamed it on COVID. He said, during COVID, not a lot of people were showing up to this court dates, and I got right in line. And I had a good rapport with them. I still got a good rapport with them, but now it's like I get there and there's all these extra people in line, so I got time to kill. So yeah, I can doodle a little bit. I would think if you were representing me, I would be hoping that you're like trying to find another avenue in our case that you can figure out. But I guess he's probably done all the homework that he needs to do, and he's got time to draw hair on Hunter Renfrow.
Lawyer.
Lawyer Malloy. That made me giggle this week as well, or this season as well. We are at the 1 hour. I don't want to cut it short, but so let's. If there are things that Chad you have or Terry you have that you wanted to get to, we can get to it now. If not, then we can just keep on
Well,
bantering.
one thing that before I cut out, I was kind of alluding to was how much I've enjoyed the podcast, getting to know a lot better through just natural conversation y'all have produced. The different members of the league, and I pick up a little thing here and there. I'm in 2 leagues. I got one more league I got roped into in this league, but I've taken the rest of my
His new handle, Terry, is going to be Chad Bad Audio Preston.
His Wi-Fi is the shit.
We haven't had this kind of bad audio since week 2. Me and Greece.
It might be the phone instead of the computer.
So you were saying you have the nuggets that you're taking away from hearing Draft Dodgers?
Yep, and a little insight at draft.
Yeah, it has been one of the funner things that I've done this year with a really shitty year for me. It's been one of the better things. And then spending time with you, Terry. High five across virtually.
Hey, Ron, I was thinking about it today. Like, I'm coming home from working this midnight shift, and I'm tired. I want to see the kids, and I want to go up there and play with them right now. But I'm thinking about how you told me originally that you heard the idea on another person's league. They were doing this, and by the end of the year, they were looking forward to it. And I hope everybody listening is looking forward to it as well. But I'm looking forward to recording these things with you because I'm enjoying that as well. And just talking with different people, it's put a different aspect to already pretty superior fantasy league to me, with traveling drafts and the defense and Slack and all that. This is just one more thing on top of it, so I've enjoyed it as well.
So Chad, you're a yes for Asheville. Terry,
I think
you're.
I think given where we've gone in the past, this would be a nice change, and it's also, like you said, it's like it hits a lot of boxes.
How is it as far as traveling to get to for the other guys flying in?
So Greensville, Spartanburg Airport is close. Knoxville is close. Puss has got a private jet now that he's a billionaire. He could just put everybody from his new private jet into that. So I think it's relatively easy.
Land it right away.
Terry, you could fly to Nashville and ride with us, me and the Truth, and Perez.
So
year
for the podcast question, how many total plays does the podcast have in total right now?
What episode you said we're episode 9, right?
I'm going to say 88.
That's right.
Well, it should be 108 because there's 12 of us, and if we're listening back and there's 9 podcasts, 12 times 9, but I'm sure it's more than that. I'm going to give it 146.
113. You were right with your original one. You went a little bit over. On The Price is Right, you would have won with your gut, but you overanalyzed like everything else, Terry. It seems very on brand for you, as the kids would say now. On brand. The thing that is interesting is Puss has now come into a dead heat with Dog, with both of them having 20 listens. So the next listen, Josh is in third with 100 with 13. So it's 20-13. So whoever can get that up might be the episode winner. So That's it. Like I said, I have a hard break in 9 minutes that I have to get to an interview. Chad, bad audio, Preston, the shiz. Thank you. It's always nice to talk to you.
His Wi-Fi's out.
And his and his Wi-Fi goes out. And Terry, as always, there you go, Chad. Go ahead.
Hey, enjoyed it. Thanks for having me. Go Balls. Go Shiz. See you guys in the playoffs.
Did he say
Did
go
you
ball?
say-
Yeah,
Did
go
he-
Balls.
Oh, with a V.
Terry, can you say "Go Shiz" on this? Isn't this a children's show? Safe.
I don't
radio,
know.
safe word.
I can't even imagine a person doing what Eric claims that means. But that's
It's just it's as simple as it sounds. The shit. That's it.
who would do that at the same time? Why would you want to? I don't know, Eric.
You couldn't do it at the same
You're
time.
letting
It's
you're
impossible.
letting him
It's-
draw you in again, Terry.
I can't. I don't want to picture it. It's so bad. All right,
One
you
last
guys.
thing to let you draw it in. The king of misinformation went from text to Trump, now back to text. When he's talking to you, none of it of fantasy is true. It's all fake news.
When you ask that question about if anybody ever tries to throw, like, if you ever try to throw shade on stuff, Eric, if you're trying to talk a trade with him, that guy will he will try to convince you that the sun's out at night. Like, he does not, he will just,
Three
Yeah.
letters. 3 letters. ETN.
yeah. Congratulations, Puss.
He regrets that. He regrets that move.
Oh, I bet. We'll have to hear what he thinks.
All right, thanks everyone.
Have a
Appreciate
good day.
it.
See you guys.
Bye.
Okay,
Thanks.
See you. Hey Chad, you still there? Yeah.